Welcome to the New Trust Economy, where your hosts, Blockchain 101 author and founder of Rise Housing, Monica Profit, and Inc. innovation columnist and brandcasting strategist, Tracy Hazard, explore all things blockchain, ICO ventures, and cryptocurrency. Each week, they explore businesses, applications, and venture built on blockchain or cryptocurrency and address issues like women and diversity in tech, trust and distrust, and the economics of access and value. We would like to remind our listeners that investing in disruptive tech, ICOs, and cryptocurrency is speculative in nature and involves substantial risk of loss. We encourage you to invest carefully and do your due diligence first. Now, here are your hosts, Monica Profit and Tracy Hazard.
Hi, and welcome to the New Trust Economy. I'm Monica Profit, and I'm here with Digix co-founder, Anthony Eufemio. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Monica. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, so I have to first ask, I know that I was talking with some of your team you have a very distributed team. Is that right?
Yeah, it's not very distributed. So we have an office in Singapore as our headquarters. And we also have developers in the Philippines, and I am based out of Seattle, Washington.
Oh, Seattle. I thought it was West Coast because I was like, but for a minute I was talking to people in Singapore and like coordinating with, really, really different time zone. I'm in New York. Then I thought, no, wait, how did you look like you're far too wide awake for this. How did this happen? So, well, thank you so much. I'm glad that this isn't a crazy time of the morning for you.
Actually, Sean was supposed to take this interview, but he said it was too early for him, so I decided to pick it up for him.
Yeah, no, that's great. That makes perfect sense, especially because even though it's Friday for us, it's Saturday for him. So waking up at 5 a.m. on a Saturday sounds like not a fun time. So, well, thank you. So can you tell me a little bit more about Digix? Like, when were you founded, and what made you guys, want to found it? Do you have any kind of founding genesis story of the company?
Sure. So I've co-founded this company with Casey Chun, who's the CEO, and he's also my brother-in-law as well. I've known him a few years prior to starting the company, and we co-founded it with Sean G, who is basically our COO and manages all of the events as well. So we started this company in 2014 with the idea of basically tokenizing gold on the blockchain. So we were so Casey is basically was a trader. A currencies trader prior to starting Digix, and I was working in the fintech on Wall Street. So I was on IT and software development, and we were thinking of a way of how can we tokenize gold, but keeping but having it so that people can actually trust the tokenized gold, that it is actually 100% backed by gold on the vaults, right? And so we basically came up with this protocol called the proof of provenance. Which is basically a set of business rules that implement some kind of a supply chain system on the Ethereum blockchain. And what that does is basically allows us to have different types of participant classes. So basically in our case, it would be the vendor of the physical gold bar. So whoever is selling the original source of the physical gold bar, the custodian, which would basically be storing the bars in their physical vaults. And we have auditors which would basically audit. And the idea of having these three different participants is that in order for you to game the system, in order for somebody to basically create tokens out of nothing, they would have to have three different participants collude together. So It's an end of end type of collusion situation, which would be impossible if they're all basically trying to make sure that their service is trusted, right?
So you take kind of the existing trust of a pre-blockchain ecosystem, and then you leverage that into a blockchain protocol that then requires them to work against their own immediate personal needs or desires to be able to break the blockchain. That's very smart.
Yeah. So if you look at the other asset-backed tokens on this space, such as, for example, USD Tether, and you have other asset classes basically the stable coins, right? We don't know exactly if they're really backed by US dollars, right? And there's been news already where Tether turned out to be only backed 75% or something along,
right?
Where it's actually they actually ended up becoming a fractional token, right? In our case, it can never be fractional. So every one DGX would always be backed by 1 gram of physical gold, and you can always check the blockchain and verify that. You can see documents. We basically store, when in the process of tokenizing physical gold, there's documents, pictures of the gold bar with serial numbers and certificates associated with them that are uploaded on the blockchain itself and can be checked by anybody running an Ethereum and a IPFS client. So they can then check that it is on there, it has been signed, and it took, like, these events took place at specific times, and they happen in specific order, which basically signify that the asset actually was purchased, was sent to a vault, and has been audited.
That makes sense. So it sounds like you have more than one coin in your ecosystem. Can you talk a
Yep.
little bit about, it sounds like you have one that's very stable, very clearly backed, very obviously backed. You have a lot of documentation behind that, but then you also have, sounds like, a utility coin. And then what is all this whole cornucopia? How does it work together?
We have a utility token, which is basically called the Digix DAO token, which is a token for a decentralized autonomous organization. So the idea behind it is that we wanted to basically build a community, and we wanted to have a community where they are rewarded for helping us build our product, our platform, and to basically increase the usage of our tokens in the public. So basically, these tokens are, there's a total supply of 2 million that were ever created during our initial crowd sale, which took place in 2016. We were one of the first fully on-chain ICOs, so to speak, on Ethereum. And at that, during our race, we raised about 465,000 ethers, which at that point was about $5.5 million. We did that in less than 24 hours, actually. We raised that amount, and we were capped at 5.5 million. So the idea behind this token is that people that have participated in the crowd sale can basically stake these tokens into our smart contracts. So basically what happens is they would lock these tokens up for a period of 3 months. And for those 3 months, they can participate in the voting. So they can vote, they can propose, and they can moderate. If they have enough reputation on the network, they can basically moderate proposals and basically help us control and foster community cooperation. Mm-hmm. And the idea is that we have the gold token, right? But we don't know all the use cases for a gold token, right? Because we basically can think of a few use cases that we can focus on, but there are more use cases than we can ever think of for this product.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like there are a lot of use cases. I mean, you were talking about being able to take your protocol and apply it to even other assets. Can you talk so my background is in real estate. Can you talk about how you could use the Digix coin to tokenize real estate?
Yeah, so yeah, we can basically have it the same way, where you have the provenance of a buying a real estate would have like the escrow and all these other things that are part of the home buying experience, right? So you can basically create that same process, put that on our platform, and then you can basically tokenize the house, right? So you can, or any other asset that you want to tokenize that can be held by some multiple parties, that can be passed between multiple parties and verified by other parties as well.
That's wonderful. So what is your background? It sounds like you were already kind of deep in the tech world before you got into blockchain, and so were your co-founders, right? So can you tell me about how did you guys come up with the idea that you were going to leverage, your backgrounds in either fintech or in, more traditional trading? What other kind of areas were you working in, and what made you go, aha, we've just got to do this?
So basically we were, our backgrounds is like Casey and I were actually started mining Bitcoins back in 2011, or 2010, 2011 together. And we were, basically we were always kind of looking at the price of Bitcoin going up and down and not really having any kind of basis for its base price besides the speculation in the markets. So we thought, why don't we put a stable coin? And we thought that gold would be the perfect asset class. It's the most generic one. It's not tied to a specific sovereign nation. Mm-hmm. And gold historically has been used as an asset class for either as money or as an investment. So we thought that this would be a perfect initial use case for our protocol,
Uh-huh.
tokenizing it and basically making sure that it is a trusted token.
So when this was like thought of as the first use case for it, it sounds, I mean, it's now been 5 years. So did you guys plan to be moving to other use cases and other assets sooner, or this is right on target?
So we actually just launched our DAO platform, and we've had many recommendations on what we can do with this now. So it's starting that. So all these ideas are now starting to come together. So one of the ideas that has been kind of pitched to us by somebody privately was to basically have in-game tokens being backed by physical gold. So we actually have a game, like an online game, like a multiplayer online game that has some kind of token, right? You can trade those for physical gold, right? So basically adding more value to the gamification of your game itself.
That's very cool. Actually, I've interviewed a few people that are in the gamified kind of space, the gamification of blockchain space. It's really interesting. So to have yours actually backed by a real asset like that is pretty awesome.
Yeah. So the other use case that we've always thought of is basically using gold as a collateral for peer-to-peer lending. So because there have been peer-to-peer lending platforms on the blockchain using Bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies, but the problem with that is there's a price issue, right? So if I'm loaning you an asset that can fluctuate in price, then that can affect my decision of whether I should loan it to you or I should hold into it.
Right.
That asset, because the appreciation might be more than like what I can collect in interest from you.
Yeah,
right?
that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Had a stable asset, then like those issues like don't come up, right? So there's this physical gold. We know that gold has sort of a very kind of a stable, relatively stable price, and so that just gives you the ability to create a better loan platform. For example, you can use it also for insurance, right? So you can collateralize. You can basically lock up some gold to pay for certain things if certain events happen.
Ah, very good. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It can work as its own like value system based in insurance. That's wonderful. So, I mean, speaking of a really volatile, currency that you might not want to always keep in, it sounds like you guys raised originally $5.5 million in Ethereum, but at some point it was also worth like up to $80 million. And so, may I ask, when did you cash out of Ethereum and jump off the Ethereum train?
We actually are still on the Ethereum chain,
Okay.
so we still have that. So we have we've taken about 60,000 ethers for a proposal. We submitted a proposal to basically help fund us finish the development of the decentralized organization platform,
Mm-hmm.
and as well as to help us kind of bootstrap some of the other business expenses that we had in running the gold platform to help it kind of like move along. So we still have about 360,000 ethers on the contract itself that are waiting to be voted on and distributed for different projects.
Wow, that's great. So you're still very much at the whims of the market.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think we're strong supporters of the Ethereum network. So I actually was the first. I actually made the first transaction on Ethereum, believe it or not.
You made the first transaction on Ethereum.
And also the first pizza purchase on Ethereum.
Oh my gosh, that is great. That is definitely something we're going to have to put out in our tweetables. Like, this is talk with a man who did the first transaction on Ethereum and also bought the first slice of pizza. That's wonderful. Oh, wow.
It's now about, I think it's about $2,000. So it was 5 ethers.
Oh my gosh. Wow. You paid a lot for that pizza. So it sounds like you guys are doing a lot of really cool stuff. You've got a lot of projects coming up. Can you talk a little bit about the upcoming projects and your roadmap ahead?
So right now we're working on some partnerships. So right now we're trying to, like I said, we want to build the ecosystem and find people to actually accept the GX Gold token, either as merchants. So we partnered with a lot of point of sale companies that are building crypto-based point of sale systems that retailers can have, and they can accept the GX tokens. We work with crypto debit card companies
Yeah,
basically
that's a good one.
tokens and basically swipe it using your Visa or MasterCard and spend it in real time. So that's one of those things that we're working on. Like we're working on listing on different exchanges right now. And also we're working on some of the scaling solutions as well to help us basically have more transaction throughput that's not limited by the Ethereum blockchain.
Cool. So what debit cards are you working with? I mean, the only debit card that I know of, or a credit card or anything, I guess debit card is BitPay. That's the only one that I've really used. What kind of debit cards are you looking for?
There's 10x out in Singapore.
Uh-huh.
Basically, it supports, I believe, several different cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin and also Ethereum. And there's also Token Card out in Europe. We're kind of finishing up that project as well. So hopefully you'll see a Bitcoin or a DGX gold backed debit card soon in Europe.
That's
And
great.
has been issuing their coins. There's actually an interesting video I think that we posted where Casey paid for dinner using DGX Gold in one of the restaurants in Singapore.
How many restaurants do you have that accept DGX now?
I believe there's if I'm not mistaken, there's about 20 in Singapore right now that have that point of sale system.
That's great.
I want this to be a global thing.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Well, it sounds like you've just been doing awesome stuff. I mean, these are all of my questions. Do you have anything else that you want to say to our listeners and let us know? Oh, wait, one other question. I know that you have your utility coin enables, it incentivizes people to be, improving and giving you guys good feedback to improve within the community app. So have you ever had any questions come in from your users that kind of stumped you or requests or suggestions that you've got to do this and you're like, how on earth would we do that? How is that even going to work?
So to be honest with you, most of the questions that have stopped me have been the regulatory type stuff. And thankfully, we have a pretty good legal department that's been helping us basically get all the legal clarity and legal opinions in various jurisdictions. And so far, it's been pretty good. But yeah, so there is, when you build a blockchain company and there is an asset involved in it and it might look like a security. So regulators will basically take a look at it. It's like, is this a security? Is there a risk for money laundering? Can this be used by criminals and how can it be stopped?
Yeah.
So all these, we've kind of been putting our heads together to basically make it a solid product that can be accepted globally as a peer-to-peer currency, but also be accepted by regulators. Because
that's a tall order.
On your product, right? So we've been doing a lot of that work, and particularly also with our DAO as well, because there is a reward system around it. We've kind of made it in a way so that it would be actually regulatory okay,
good.
Okay, guys, in different jurisdictions. But yeah, so what I kind of wanted to say was, so we just launched our Digix DAO platform, and this DAO platform is where people can submit proposals. And then get rewarded for these submissions of their proposals in the form of DGX tokens every quarter. So we kind of encourage people like your listeners, if they're interested in participating in a decentralized organization, please check us out on our website. So our governance platform is on community.digix.global. And
cool.
If you have DGX, you can get DGX from various exchanges. It's on Binance and several other exchanges. You can look at DGD on CoinMarketCap, and that will tell you where to get them and the current price. And on community.digix.global, you can basically submit, participate, and start submitting proposals. If you don't have enough reputation to submit proposals, you can always reach out to us on our social media. And you can get that on digix.global website. So https digix.global. Very easy to remember.
That's great. I'm actually writing these down now. This is wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with our listeners and tell us more about what we can do to contribute to a decentralized organization and give you guys hopefully some really great ideas for how you can grow your next innovation.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I guess this is Monica Profit signing off from New Trust Economy. Thank you, Anthony Eufemio, for joining me today. And I'll catch you next time on the New Trust Economy.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the New Trust Economy. We'd love to hear your comments on today's show, as well as suggestions for future topics and guests. Visit us online at newtrusteconomy.com or on social at New Trust Economy. Thanks for exploring the New Trust Economy with us.